everyone, welcome to my book channel. I'm Zen Lu, and today we're talking about all of the books that I will be reading in July. So typically I choose kind of a theme for every month, and my reading list is kind of built around that theme. And for July, I am picking books that I would like to call, I've been meaning to read that for a while. So these are kind of viral sensations or award winners or famous authors that I have been hearing for quite a while, and I'm finally getting to it. Let's look at this list. This first one has received a lot of rave reviews from all corners of the social media. This is Tom Lake by Ann Patchett. This story is set in 2020 when Lara's three daughters are begging her to tell them about a famous actor that she had worked with and shared a romance with. So Tom Lake is the name of the theater company where they worked together. And inspired by the story that their mother shared with them, the three daughters are also reflecting on their lives and their relationships. This book is talked about as being very beautifully written and very moving. This story is filled with love, both romantic and familial, and love for animals and other forms of love as well. It definitely sounds like the kind of story that I will enjoy. This is probably going to be the first book that I pick up to read in July. Next is a book published in 1997 but has become an undeniable hit on social media within the last 2 or so years. This is I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Harpman. In this story, 39 women were imprisoned underground in a cage and they were guarded by men, and they have no memory of how they got there or why they were imprisoned in this situation. But one day a young girl finally escaped and got to see the world above ground, and we're following her story. This author was born in Belgium and fled to Casablanca with her family during World War II. And this novel is inspired by her experience as a psychoanalyst and also her teenage experience as an exile. This book is described as a haunting, heartbreaking, post-apocalyptic novel of female friendship and intimacy, and the length people will go to maintain their humanity in the face of devastation. This is a very slim volume. I am expecting it to be a quick but very impactful read. Next is a book that I think you have seen everywhere. This is Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. This is a brand new novel published in 2024 by the author of Normal People, which was adapted into a TV series and I really enjoyed. I think I will pick up that book at some point as well. So this story follows two brothers. One of them is a lawyer who is kind of struggling with addiction and struggling with the relationship in his life. And the younger brother is a competitive chess player, and he is kind of a reserved, antisocial kind of person. And he is also having some interesting interactions with the people in his life, and they are both mourning the death of their father. So this is a story of grief and family relationship, possibly reconciliation. And I actually just started learning to play chess this year, and I'm curious how many chess references will be in this book, but I do think I will enjoy them. Next is a Nobel Prize winning and Netflix adapted classic, 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. This is a foundational work of the magical realism genre, which is a genre that I'm just starting to become familiar with. This is the story of the rise and fall, birth and death of the mythical town of Macondo through the history of the Buendia family. And it probably has one of the most famous opening lines of all time. Many years later, as he faced the firing squad, Colonel Aureliano Buendia was to remember that distant afternoon when his father took him to discover ice. I am already intrigued to find out why he was facing the firing squad and what it was like to discover ice for the first time. I will be very happy to check this book off my must-read classics list. Speaking of must-read classics, I have a longtime veteran on my shelf. This is The Stranger by Albert Camus. This is also by a Nobel Prize winning author. This is definitely a modern classic and frequently recommended when you research French literature. So Albert Camus' style is compared to Hemingway and Faulkner quite a bit in that he writes in short but very clear and concise sentences. And the book begins like this. Maman died today, or yesterday maybe. I don't know. I got a telegram from the home. Mother deceased. Funeral tomorrow. Faithfully yours. That doesn't mean anything. Maybe it was yesterday. So I am expecting this to be a quick and easy read given the very bare and straightforward language that it's written in, and it's also only 123 pages. So I'm very excited to finally know this story. The next one is from another highly recommended author with a great body of work. This is Small Gods by Terry Pratchett. This is one of his Discworld stories, which I think are kind of set in the same fictional universe, but there are a lot of different stories and they aren't necessarily in a given order. The Discworld is described as such. Lost in the chill deeps of space between the galaxies, it sails on forever, a flat, circular world carried on the back of a giant turtle, a land where the unexpected can be expected, where the strangest things happen to the nicest people. Particularly in this book, Bruta, a simple lad who only wants to tend his melon patch, until one day he hears the voice of a god calling his name. A small god to be sure, but bossy as hell. This author is praised for his very sharp writing and satirical humor, which are both things that I enjoy quite a bit. I received this book as a Christmas present last year, and I've been feeling quite guilty to just let it sit on my shelf, and I'm very happy to finally be reading it. And as always, I have a couple of audiobooks that I borrowed from Libby, so I have 2 holds that will become available in July. The first is The Testaments by Margaret Atwood. So this is the sequel to The Handmaid's Tale. It is also set in Gilead. I think it is 15 years after the story in The Handmaid's Tale. And it follows a few different characters, and I think it focuses on resistance against Gilead. So as you probably know, the Handmaid's Tale TV series has concluded, and the production teams and people are now adapting The Testaments, and this story is expected to be on screen, I think either 2026 or 2027. So I am very excited to read the book before I watch the show and kind of see how the story of The Handmaid's Tale continues and develops. The second hold that I will have available is Beautyland by Marie-Helene Bertino. In this story, at the moment when Voyager 1 is launched into space, a baby is born with very unusual perception, so she somehow possesses knowledge of a faraway planet. She can contact her extraterrestrial relatives through a fax machine, and she reports on the oddity of Earthlings to the extraterrestrials. This premise sounds like nothing that I've ever read, and I'm very excited to listen to this story when it becomes available. So those are the books that I've chosen to read in July. I might add a couple depending on how the month goes. I'm certainly very excited for these books that I have been hearing for a long time, and I'm finally going to just take them off the shelf and read through them. Please let me know what you thought of this selection in the comments below, and definitely let me know what you're reading in July. And if there are any books on your shelf that you feel like, oh, I have been meaning to read that for so long, just take this as a sign to get it off the shelf and read that book. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.